$78,247, which includes the terrorism. The incumbent did not submit for the terrorism. This is a trend new now in this business where everybody is making sure that we include the terrorism. So that is a recommendation that was made to the administration.
Yeah. That's only number one, right? And you're the actual consultant, so that's your recommendation?
That is the recommendation coming in from the consultant, Mr. Racho Garza, and I'm here to deliver it. Yes, sir.
Anyone have any questions, guys?
What option was it again?
I'm sorry?
What option was it again, sir?
I'm sorry,
What
option
option are
one,
you-
under
option
Midland,
Okay.
under Midland Insurance, the option one for the $78,247.
I so move under option number one.
I have a motion by Mr. Alanis,
Second.
a second by Mr. Peña. All those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed? Motion passes. Next item under bids, item number 2. Property and Casualty Insurance Competitive Seal Proposal 2017-111.
Just a correction of the previous one. It's the first option for Midland. Actually, in the recommendation sheet, it's actually option number 2.
But it's the same numbers, right?
Same numbers, that's correct.
Okay. Can you just add that to it, Blanca? For the record? Okay. Okay, so I have something on the table, guys. Do we have a motion, or do we have any questions? On number 2?
What's the recommendation of the on these options here on the second one?
On the
casualty.
I'm sorry?
On the property and casualty, what's the recommendation that they're
Okay,
going with?
on that one, the memo, we received, the district received two proposals, actually 3 proposals. There was one from the incumbent PCAT, Carlisle Insurance, and then the other one was from Freight Insurance, and another one from Montalvo Insurance. After reviewing the proposals, the Valley Risk Consultant recommended to the administration, basically option 1 was, based on our review and evaluation, PCAT or Carlisle Insurance, the incumbent, was the one who bid on everything. The second option was Freighties, who did not bid on the general liability and auto insurance. So the option 2 would substantially save the district, but it is an option that the board can consider. It is an option that's prorated for 10 months. You would have to go out for bid again in the April-May timeframe next year. It is substantially less, about $300,000 almost. But it does not include your auto liability, physical damage, and the incumbent PCAT had indicated that it was an all or nothing for them. They were not willing to do the monoline, which means that they were not willing to do it, just for those products. So we put a recommendation in there, option 1 and option 2 for the board to consider. Now, if you go with option 2, that means that you would have to make sure that you procure the automobile liability and physical damage and the general liability before Friday.
And we have no way of doing that.
That would be something that we would have to really aggressively pursue if the board would consider that. So,
Well, but something saving like this, $300,000, I mean, is something we can look at, Mr. Vela?
That we would be without insurance for our bus fleet and our white fleet. Right now, there's no way that they can talk to underwriters to separate their bid. Yeah, we covered it with everything. If we go with freights, then we're going to be exposed.
I mean, 'cause that's a lot of money to be, I mean, I like the savings and everything, but
What's the likelihood of us being able to get covered by Thursday?
we'd have to really pursue it aggressively. And right now, I don't know what the markets are with the Houston situation, but can it be done? Yes, it can be done. As a previous CFO, we were at one time in some situation where we were able to procure it, but again, you know, we didn't have the Houston problem. I don't know if I can answer that. I would have to defer that to Mr. Garza.
And the potential cost savings, well, what do you envision the price would be for us to be able to cover those particular things that are not covered under PCAT?
I'm not sure if Mr. Vela and his staff were able to get an estimate what it would do to get that 30-day extension. They were gonna try to,
The extension, we spoke to PCAT. One, it would be very tough to do right now because of hurricane season. Yet, it would be 60
I mean, that's not an option then. But you are saying that you can look into the coverage, right?
well, we definitely can look into the coverage now. Whether we be successful is another thing. Now, I'm not sure, I'll turn this back to legal, if we were able to procure that, would that qualify under an emergency meeting?
Any more questions, guys? No, any
I
motion?
just don't feel comfortable, you know, putting ourselves out for that much money. We don't have any coverage.
What's the recommendation by council? Your recommendation, Jerry?
I'm sorry? If we don't make a motion on this today, Mr. Vela?
Have to be 48 hours to post it right now, and we need a 72-hour notice.
So this would not fall under the emergency, in other words?
I think so, but I'll defer to.
Well, I mean, it's just that, you know, you're looking at a $300,000 savings. I mean, that's quite a bit of money.
It's $300,000 savings, but you're still not taking into account the cost of
Of the coverage of the fleet,
educators, auto liability, auto physical liability.
which would be?
So do we have a motion, guys?
I don't feel comfortable making a motion.
Do you want to table?
There's no representative from any of the entities that are represented here?
I'm not sure, Mr. Vela.
Mr. Vela, any representatives from the,
CAT does not have any representatives here. I don't know.
So you're representing Mr. Garza, what is your recommendation? You're representing Mr. Garza, what is your recommendation?
Basically, he put those two options for the board to basically consider, and it's going to be putting me on the spot now. In 2 days, it's going to be very difficult to get those other proposals unless PCAT comes to the table and is willing to do that automobile and general liability. They've had the business here a long time. I don't know why it wouldn't, but you're exposing the district to not having that coverage effective 12:01 on Thursday or Friday morning, so. Option one at this time would be the most prudent thing to do.
Just waiting for a motion.
So move on option number one as recommended.
Okay, a motion by Mr. Alanis,
Second.
second by Mr. Cantu. All those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed? Motion passes. Coming back to the superintendent's report, Dr. Benavides.
Good evening, members of the audience. Under the superintendent's report, we have an appointment of a new trustee to fill vacancy on the La Jolla ISD School Board of Trustees, place number 2.
I'm gonna need a motion, please.
So move.
Second.
To say the name.
Francis Salinas.
Okay, for the record, there's a motion and a second to appoint Francis A. Salinas. All those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed? Motion passes. Congratulations, Ms. Salinas, and if we could have your father, the mayor, coming up. And before the swearing in, I think, Mr. Salinas, you had a couple of words, or you want to say it after after, okay.
Raise your right hand. That's your right hand, yes. I know. Okay. In the name and by the authority of the state of Texas, this is the oath of office. Repeat after me. I do solemnly swear and
solemnly swear
or affirm
or affirm
that I will faithfully
that I will faithfully
execute
execute
the duties of the office,
the duties of the office,
School Board of Trustees, place number 2
School Board of Trustees, place number
of the state of Texas,
2 of the state of Texas,
and will to the best
and will to the best
of my ability
of my ability
preserve,
preserve,
protect,
protect,
and defend the Constitution
and defend the Constitution
and laws of the United States
and laws of the United States
and of this state,
and of this state,
so help me God.
so help me God.
Congratulations. At this time, I would like to inform the audience and of course the whole school district. This is the third generation of the Salinas family, Juan de Dios Salinas Sr., of board members. My father served on the school board from 1950 to 1965. After him, they appointed my other brother, J.D. Salinas Jr., for 1 year. In 1973, my other brother, Fernando Salinas, won an election for 2 years. And then I won election from 2004 to 2011. And now I'm proud to say that Francis Salinas is the third generation of the Juan de Dios Salinas family. I know that a lot of you, especially elected officials, wouldn't be here for the board meeting, but I would like to recognize you all. I don't want to leave anybody out, so I'll start from the first I want you to identify yourself and the position you hold as an elected official now. So let's start with the second row. I believe we don't have anybody in the first row. Second, oh, here one. Ana. Okay, second row. Anybody there? Third row. I don't want to leave anybody out. Anybody else here? There, JR and Mr. Quintanilla. Okay, next line. Nobody else? The third line, fourth line. Okay, now in the back from the left. Okay, next over here, standing there she is. Next. Is that it?
Jerry? Jerry?
Or Jerry Munoz or JP? Oh, there is Rick. Levántense si está un elected official, platíquenos, ahora que pueden hablar. Muchas gracias a todos los que volvieron, todos los que nos soportan aquí a La Joya, especialmente el Western Hidalgo Group. Les damos muchísimas gracias por estar aquí y para adelante. Gracias and thank you to the school board members.
Alrighty, before we go on, I know there's gonna be some drinks and, all the pictures. Van a ser bien famoso, Francis. You're gonna be like the number one thing out there. But before we go on, we're gonna give, yeah, go ahead. I want to thank our superintendent and our central administration and staff because we did this out of a real quick notice. So thank you, Doug, again to all the staff, Irma and everyone. You know who you are, so thank you. Un aplauso para ellos. And now for place 2, for a couple of words, our new board member, Francis A. Salinas. Francis?
Thank you. First of all, I'd like to thank everyone for being here today. I'm humbled by your presence and your support. I'd like to thank God for this opportunity, and I want you all to know that I'm very happy to have you all here, and that I will be working really, really hard with my colleagues, with the school district, all for the betterment of our district and our community. Most of all, I'd like to thank my parents, my mother, Mary Salinas, for raising 5 crazy kids and still living through it. And I'm honored to have her as my mom, and her accomplishments are beyond. And last but not least, my father, who I'm so proud to follow in his footsteps. And without getting too choked up, my mentor, my defender, my disciplinary as well, and one of my best friend. Thank you, Dad. I love you all. Thank you very much.
Okay, with that being said, I'm gonna need a motion for adjournment, and then all the pictures for all that.
So move.
I have a motion by Mr. Garza to adjourn.
Second.
Second by Mr. Contul. All those in favor? Aye. All those opposed? Meeting is adjourned, guys.
Thank you,
Congratulations
guys.
again.
Thank you, board.